Welcome to College Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: Czech Republic mourns mass shooting victims. Maryland beats UCLA 69-60, sending the Bruins to their fourth straight loss. And Racklin, storyteller who inspired children with a love of classical music, obituary. Post-flight feast, study suggests reindeer vision evolved to spot favorite food. Cook scores 17 to lead VMI over Penn State New Kensington 82-65. Czech Republic mourns mass shooting victims. BBC. The Czech Republic is observing a day of national mourning for the victims of a mass shooting at a university in Prague. 14 people were killed in the attack, which was carried out by a student who then killed himself. The motive behind the attack is still being investigated. This is one of the deadliest attacks by a lone gunman in Europe this century. The victims include the head of the Institute of Musicology at the university, a translator, and a student. The shooting took place in the Faculty of Arts building in the center of the capital. The gunman also killed his father at a separate location and is suspected of killing a young man and his 2-month-old daughter. Maryland beats UCLA 69-60, sending the Bruins to their fourth straight loss. Associated Press. Maryland defeated UCLA 69-60 in a college basketball game on Friday night. Yamir Young scored a career-high 37 points for Maryland, while Dante Scott added 17 points. UCLA, on the other hand, struggled with their shooting and went 1 of 14 from three-point range. This loss marks the Bruins' fourth straight loss, their worst skid since the 2018-19 season. Maryland led 43-28 at halftime, and despite struggling with scoring in the closing minutes, they were able to secure the win. And Racklin, storyteller who inspired children with a love of classical music, obituary. Telegraph. And Racklin, a musical storyteller who inspired children with a love of classical music, has died at the age of 90. Racklin began telling her children stories about composers and their music to keep them engaged during concerts, and soon started teaching music at a prep school in London. She went on to found Fun with Music classes, which became very popular and attracted high-profile figures like Peter O'Toole and Bob Hoskins. Racklin also told her stories at youth concerts around the world and published picture books about famous composers' childhoods. Post-flight feast, study suggests reindeer vision evolved to spot favorite food. Yahoo! Reindeer eyes are full of ascorbic acid, or vitamin C, and vitamin C is just terrific for repairing damaged cells, he said. Cook scores 17 to lead VMI over Penn State New Kensington 82-65. Associated Press. VMI defeated Penn State New Kensington with a score of 82-65. Freshman Tyron Cook scored 17 points for VMI, while Aubrey Feaster too scored 17 points for Penn State New Kensington. Alette scores 24 in Old Dominion's 78-63 win against Temple in the Diamond Head Classic. Associated Press. Old Dominion's Vici and Alette scored 24 points in their 78-63 victory over Temple in the Diamond Head Classic. Old Dominion will play in the fifth-place game on Sunday. Old Dominion coach Jeff Jones was hospitalized in Honolulu after suffering a heart attack on Wednesday but is expected to make a full recovery. DPP's Lai challenged to renounce independence in first Taiwan election debate. South China Morning Post. The three candidates in next month's presidential election in Taiwan have been scrambling to assure voters that they are the best choice for achieving cross-strait peace. However, the main opposition candidate, Ho Uih, has dared leading contender William Lai Ching-te to abandon his pro-independence stance, suggesting it would lead to war. Ho said Lai's assurances during the election campaign that he would not declare independence if elected were meant to wangle votes from the public. Beijing has repeatedly warned that an official split would lead to an attack. Cross-strait relations turned sour in 2016 when President Tsai was elected and refused to accept the One China principle. Most opinion surveys show the majority of Taiwanese no longer identify as Chinese and do not embrace the prospect of cross-strait unification. Why more Chinese students are looking to Europe, not the US or UK, for study. South China Morning Post. Chinese students are increasingly choosing Europe as a study destination over the US and UK due to lower tuition fees and a more stable social environment. The number of Chinese students studying in the US has been declining in recent years, with many top students opting for European universities instead. Europe has long been seen as a desirable destination for Chinese students who want to learn from the West to aid China's modernization. China's science and technology sector has benefited from sending students to European countries, with many top leaders in the field having studied in Europe. Europe offers unique advantages for Chinese students, including strong academic programs in disciplines such as engineering, mathematics, and art education. European countries are also becoming more welcoming to Chinese students, with France and Germany introducing favorable policies. Additionally, the deteriorating relationship between China and the US is discouraging Chinese students from pursuing education in the US. Visa policies and friendly environments are also important factors for Chinese students when choosing where to study abroad. While China is now a world leader in many fields, including advanced manufacturing and computer sciences, Chinese students still value the opportunity to study in Europe. The low tuition fees, high-quality education, and unique cultural experiences make Europe an attractive destination. However, getting admission to European universities can be challenging, with prestigious schools in France requiring outstanding proficiency in French and high scores on English language tests. Nevertheless, European universities are making efforts to attract top Chinese students and promote academic exchanges between China and Europe. Vesp hits game-winning three-pointer just before the overtime buzzer as FGCU downs Florida Memorial. Associated Press. Florida Gulf Coast University, FGCU, defeated Florida Memorial in overtime with a score of 78-75. Romer Barno led the way for FGCU with 17 points, while Blaise Vesp hit a lucky three-pointer at the buzzer to secure the win. Cyrus Largy and Franco Miller Jr. also contributed with 16 and 13 points, respectively. For Florida Memorial, Darius Ward scored 20 points and Chance Crusoe recorded 16 points and 8 rebounds. FGCU will host number 14 Florida Atlantic on December 30. Florida State sues ACC, setting stage for a fight over its potential exit. Washington Post. The Florida State University Board of Trustees sued the ACC on Friday, challenging a contract that ties the school to the league while creating a potential path for FSU to leave the conference without paying more than $500 million in penalties. USI men's basketball ends non-conference play without a D1 win after loss to SIU. Yahoo! Down faces. Bleak scenes. Blank expressions. That was the scene on the University of Southern Indiana men's basketball team's bench. There was some forced enthusiasm when a possession finally didn't come up empty in Friday's 81-50 loss to Southern Illinois, but that's all it was, manufactured, lifeless and, to a certain degree, hopeless. Players tried to bring the necessary energy, but the efforts were futile. Ryan Miner, the man who started at third base for the Orioles to end Cal Ripken's streak, dies at 49. Yahoo! Former MLB player and Oklahoma two-sport star Ryan Miner has died at the age of 49 after battling colon cancer. Miner played both baseball and basketball at the University of Oklahoma before being drafted by the Baltimore Orioles in the 1996 MLB draft. He made his MLB debut in 1998 and famously replaced Cal Ripken Jr. in the lineup to end Ripken's consecutive game streak at 2,632. After his playing career, Miner transitioned into a managerial career in the minors, managing two Orioles affiliates from 2010 to 2019. He appeared in 142 games in the majors, playing for the Orioles and Montreal Expos. Miner was also a highly successful basketball player at Oklahoma, winning a national title in 1994 and being named the Big 8 Basketball Player of the Year in 1994-95. He was drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers in the 1996 NBA draft but chose to pursue baseball instead. Hong Kong to experience holiday exodus this Christmas, travel insiders say. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong is expecting an exodus of residents as travelers take advantage of the first Christmas season since pandemic restrictions were lifted and borders fully reopened to the world. Travel industry insiders predict around 70,000 people will join tour groups departing the city in December, while more than 400,000 people left Hong Kong via air, land and sea border crossings on December 23. Trump's strategy to delay trial may be working. BBC. The U.S. Supreme Court's decision not to rule quickly on whether former President Donald Trump can be prosecuted on election subversion charges may delay his trial, according to ex-prosecutors. The decision is seen as a major setback to the special counsel's case against Trump. While it is unclear how long the trial might be delayed, it is likely that the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit will have to hear the case first before the Supreme Court makes a ruling. Legal experts suggest that Trump's delay strategy may be working, but warn that it could backfire in terms of timing for his White House election campaign next year. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.